Right.
Right. Cool. So next person on our list is Tinash or Tina.
Hello, I'm just going to share my screen. I can. Can everybody see this?
Loading. Yep.
Yep. Okay, so hi everybody, my name is Tina and I'm a mechanical engineering student at the University of Southampton and I'm in my second year of my PhD. So I came to talk to you all back in February to talk about my project on human and biomechanical consideration in hand joint disease. So the main aim of this project is to investigate the key biomechanical, clinical, and social factors associated with hand osteoarthritis and see how we can incorporate the public voice and build a computer model that reflects some of these things that we've talked about. So since we last spoke, which was a very, very good experience for me, I was happy to get another perspective on the project and see what else we could include inside the computational modeling side of things. Since then, we've had a PPI group formed and our public contributors sit on our steering group, which we meet every 3 months to talk about the project and see where we're going and what sort of things we need to improve on. Some of the things that we talked about were so inspiring that as a team, we decided that we noticed in engineering particularly, there isn't much talk on public involvement. Therefore, we applied for a development fund from the Public Engagement Research Unit at the university. And now we have a sort of external project named How Would You Handle This to sort of spread hand osteoarthritis awareness and to create this online interactive educational tool that talks about some of the lived experience and why particularly researchers, scientists and engineers should be incorporating these insights in their research. So as well as the PPI, we've been working a lot on the statistical shape modeling of the index finger. And what statistical shape modeling is taking a large set of data and trying to understand what the variation amongst the data is across the population. So we have finger data, so that's CT image scans of the various bones and soft tissue in a finger. And from there, we've been applying statistical analyses to see what sort of things vary in the population. So some of the things you've seen is bone size, joint space, and things like this. Since this is an engineering project and we're incorporating PPI, which seems to have not been formally done in the past, we're trying to also write a statistical or a systematic review to sort of see how PPI has shown up in biomechanics and bioengineering and sort of push for this idea that there is a large value in PPI and why we should be applying it in engineering contexts. As well as that, we've been sharing our works through various conference abstract submissions. So we have the World Congress of Biomechanics next year, which if that goes well, we can head over there and talk about some of our PPI work with various people in the biomechanics world. And we've also have the British Association of Hand Therapists, which has been confirmed. And so next year, we'll be going over there to talk about the value of PPI in developing bioengineering technology. So I just want to say thank you and have a very great Christmas. And thank you for all your support for this PPI group.
Thank you, Tina. Really good update. Next person is Harry.
Yeah, hi everyone. Let me just try and share my screen. Hopefully this is going to work. There you go. Can you see that okay? Yes. So morning everyone. And I think I've met quite a few of you before, but there's quite a few new faces as well. So I thought I'd just very quickly give you a little bit of background. My name's Harry. I'm head of operations at a company called Mym Health. I'm a surgeon by background, trained as a surgeon before getting interested in technology. And I have developed this app, which is called MyOp, to help people get ready before they have an operation. So hopefully reduce their chances of having things like pneumonia and complications afterwards. Very quick update. Obviously, this app couldn't have come along at a better time. We know the NHS is really struggling, particularly around elective care at the moment, with lots of people waiting for operations, and everything that we can do to try and improve efficiency and reduce the chance of complications, which means that people can get out of hospital quicker, is really super important at the moment. I'll whiz through a couple of these slides. Really what we're trying to do is to help people get a little bit fitter before they have surgery. So that's improving their cardiovascular fitness, as well as helping to reduce stress, eat a bit better, and it provides some education around what to do before an operation. Instead of trying to do this all myself, I joined this company, Mym Health, who's quite a well-established company based down in Bournemouth, and founded by two doctors who were working at Southampton at the time. And we have had this partnership, which has been amazing, with the Southampton team. So we've been working together since 2019, primarily with the perioperative medicine team, but we've had some really great involvement from members of this group as well. So we've tried to work really closely in working out what we should include in the app, and then kind of testing it and getting some feedback. So thank you so much to all of those who have had a look at the app and provided helpful comments, and also really good enthusiasm for what we're trying to do. As an update, really happy to say that we have now received NHSX funding. So we've got some funding which is allowing us to roll the app out, hopefully at scale, in Southampton, as well as two other sites, which is Norfolk and Norwich and the University Hospital of North Midlands. So in Southampton, it's going to be going to everyone who's having major joint replacements, a hip replacement or a knee replacement. Hopefully also people who are having vascular surgery for things like aortic aneurysms, and some people we think as well who are having cancer surgery and possibly heart surgery as well. So hopefully there's going to be hundreds, if not thousands, of patients in Southampton who are going to be benefiting from the app. In Norfolk and Norwich and the North Midlands, we're looking at upper GI and vascular surgery as well. It's a really exciting project. We're just getting off the ground of it. There's lots of paperwork and compliance stuff that we have to go through, but that's nearly finished now. And hopefully starting in January, we will have our first real life patients and people who are having surgery on the app and using it to help them prepare. Still, as part of that, we're still trying to gather feedback as to what the second version of the app should look like. So if anyone who hasn't had a look at it would like to, let us know, or let Mike or the team know, and we can get you set up with a demo account so you can have a look around. Any feedback that you can give us on the content, things that you'd like to see in there, we hopefully will include all of that within the second version. So just say thank you for all of the help and support so far. Open invitation if anyone wants to be involved further, and I think I will leave it there.
Thank you, Harry. Next person is Danielle.
Hello, everyone. Good to see you all again. Let me find my slide as well. Mike, can you confirm that you can see my full slide? Yeah, great. So I came to Coffee Morning in October last year when we talked about my research on the health and health behaviors of people before they become pregnant, and how being healthy and feeling well before pregnancy is beneficial, not only for the new parents, but also for their children. So as researchers, we talk about this as preconception health, but this term is poorly understood, if at all, by the public, which also became clear during our Coffee Morning and discussions last year. So I'll give you a quick update on what we've been up to since the Coffee Morning, which really aim to start addressing the lack of understanding of the term and concept of preconception health. So with some internal funding and support from Caroline and Barney and the team, we recruited a diverse group of young people, including people from different gender identities and ethnic backgrounds. We organised online discussions in small groups to talk about what people already knew about preconception health. We talked about alternative language that we can use to make sure that people actually understand what it is all about. And we also discussed preferences for strategies that, sorry? Oh, sorry, I thought someone was saying something. We also talked about strategies that can be used to educate people and raise awareness of the importance of being healthy and feeling well before pregnancy. So a lot of interesting ideas came out of these discussions, which is too much to talk to you about in 2 or 3 minutes. But in terms of the language recommendations that we co-developed with people, the main one was to avoid the term preconception health, as people could not relate to this, and to instead use something like health and well-being before pregnancy and parenthood. We also identified a list of strategies that could be used to increase knowledge and awareness on the topic. This was a long list of ideas, so we asked people to rank this list to identify priorities, which included school-based education, so that people in secondary schools don't just learn about how to avoid pregnancy, but that they also hear the message that it is important to prepare for pregnancy if they ever find themselves thinking about starting a family in the future. People also felt social media was an important strategy to raise awareness. And over the past year, I've worked with the NHS South East to help inform the language and messages for a campaign that they had just launched called Ready for Pregnancy. So this was a great way to put the ideas from the public immediately into practice and inform this campaign. People also valued good quality online resources on preparing for a healthy pregnancy and a healthy baby, and worked together to improve the language that is used on this existing online poster with information on key steps to take when thinking about having a baby. And this poster is now being updated based on people's advice. So this public engagement project has already been incredibly useful, and people are also really keen to continue to contribute to our research. So I'm really looking forward to keep working with this group in the new year. And when I joined the coffee morning, I had no experience of public engagement, so it was really helpful for me to get the confidence to get this project started. So thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Danielle. Next person, Michelle.
Good morning. I just have a verbal update for you this morning, so I hope that's okay. Thank you for asking me back to talk about the DALI study, which I think it's focused on domestic abuse in the context of life-limiting illness. And I think I came to talk to you in around the autumn of last year. So it's a 30-month study that's funded by NIHR ARC Wessex, and we're currently 12 months into that, having started in January. So as I said, the project focuses on domestic abuse in the context of life-limiting illness, which is a really underexplored area. And its aim is to work with health and social care professionals, third sector agencies, and public contributors and other relevant stakeholders to co-develop a toolkit that will help those working in palliative care and end-of-life services to be able to identify, respond to, and manage domestic abuse when they come across it in their practice. So this year, we've been focused on really just kind of understanding what the existing knowledge is in the area. And as we anticipated, it is quite an underexplored phenomenon. So we've undertaken a literature review using scoping review methodology, just to explore and understand those who've experienced domestic abuse in the context of life-limiting illness, and also those of healthcare professionals, just to understand kind of where things are at, and also where the gaps in support are, and how any gaps are currently being addressed. We also carried out a survey in Wessex to understand what service provision is available for people who are living with a life-limiting illness and experiencing or at risk of abuse. And again, the survey findings found that there's little support specifically in this context, so it is a gap. We've also brought together a community of practice of relevant stakeholders, which includes hospice and palliative care professionals, social workers, and domestic abuse organisations, as well as Citizens Advice in Southampton. And also, following on from coming to see you last autumn, we also have two public contributors, so Irene and also Sally are also part of that community of practice and provide really helpful and interesting insights from that kind of non-professional perspective. So we've held 2 community of practice workshops this year, and those are really aimed at giving those working within this context the opportunity to share their experiences, and also to kind of share kind of insights to help us shape the content of the toolkit. So the second workshop was held this week, and we will be spending the next sort of four months just analysing the data from the workshops. We're also carrying out some interviews with key stakeholders as well. So along with that and the findings from the literature review and from the survey, we'll be using that to actually develop the contents of the toolkit, and we'll be sharing that at the workshop, which is scheduled for the spring. There'll then be a period once refinements have been made from that workshop. We'll be then piloting the toolkit and carrying out an evaluation, but that will be sort of from the summer onwards next year. So I just wanted to say again, thank you for the opportunity to come along, and it's just been really helpful to have the public contributor insight and to have both Irene and Sally as part of our team. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Steph.
Just see the screen.
No, we can't. We can't.
Just the slides, sorry.
No, we can't see your slides now.
Oh, I didn't press that. Can you now?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. And you can see the full slide.
Very low level from, can you speak up, Steph, a little bit?
Yes, sure. Sorry. So, hi.
That's better.
So I spoke to you, I think it was around May. Is that better? About the Breathe for T asthma study. So we've been working to develop a mobile app for teenagers with asthma to teach them breathing exercises to help control their asthma symptoms in addition to their inhalers. So since then, in the last 6 or so months, we've been speaking to lots of teenagers who have had a go at trying out the app and received lots of feedback from them and made changes to the app in response to their feedback. So we now have the final app. So this is just a few small screenshots from it. But essentially, we've ended up with 8 video sessions that teenagers can work their way through to learn the exercises. And they're all led by their peers, so people their age. There's a section where they can go and look at common concerns, so frequently asked questions about the exercises. There's a progress chart where they can track their inhaler use, and they can also look at other testimonials from teenagers who have tried the breathing exercises about how they've got on. There's also some optional parts on the website. So we've found from teenagers that they don't like to be forced to do things, and they like to have a choice about which features they might like to use. So they've got reminders that they can use and set them up around their own day. They can plan and track their breathing exercises and how they're getting on with them. And they can choose whether or not their parents receive emails about how they're getting on, and also whether or not they get sent weekly motivational emails as well. So that's what we've ended up with. So now we are recruiting teenagers to 2 groups. So one group get to use the website or the app, and the other group are on a waiting list to be able to use it in 6 months at the end of the study. And we're just looking at whether or not it's feasible at this stage to collect data about their quality of life and about their asthma control since using the website. And also we're looking at how much they use the website and which parts of the website they particularly use. And we're speaking to some more teenagers as well, particularly those that maybe look to not have used the app very much, and just to find out why they haven't, or which bits might have been unhelpful or might have put them off, but also to find out what was helpful too. So we're just continuing to improve the app based on the feedback that we receive. So yeah, just a brief update, but it has been quite challenging to recruit teenagers. And I just want to say that our PPI group, so that consist of mostly teenagers and their parents, have been really invaluable throughout this time to give us lots of tips and feedback on how we can reach teenagers and to address all the challenges that we've had. So yeah, thank you very much. And I'd just like to wish you all a Merry Christmas as well.
Thanks, Steph. So our last researcher who was supposed to give an in-person update was Carmel, but she has a meeting now, so she had to leave. So for context, Carmel, well, is part-time now with the team, and she's doing a PhD on developing a tool to map out impact of PPI. Caroline, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but as her supervisor, do you mind giving everyone a short update on the status of her PhD and what's going on, if you're happy to?
Yes, let's swing it. As many of you will know, Carmel has been looking into the impact of patient and public involvement on kind of health research outcomes. She's done a number of studies, some of which involved interviews with public members and researchers, as well as other kind of stakeholders. So she spoke to kind of people from commissioning facilities. She also spoke to people who were already academically researching PPI. So some of this group may have been involved in that, and others have been involved. So that's as a participant, but others have been involved as actual PPI leads. Where she is really is that she's writing up now. So she's at the tough stage of trying to get all her words on paper. And the biggest challenge that I think it's fair to say she's facing is knowing what to include and what not to include, because she's learnt so much, and she's found out so much that keeping it within the suggested word count will probably be the biggest challenge. So yeah, she's moved into her new job, which is in the field still. It's at Bristol, and she is trying to write for 2 days a week, which brings its own challenges. So I just wrote my thesis. I didn't do a job on the side, and that was hard enough. So I think learning a new job, meeting new people, and trying to write for 2 of those days is probably quite an adjustment, which she's managing well with, as you can imagine, for those of you who've met Kamal. But yeah, big challenge. She should be submitting in March, so she's aiming to get her kind of draft thesis to all of her supervisors in end of January. So we'll look at it in February and then give it back to her for changes to submit in March, and she will then need to do her viva. Excitingly, we are going to get a public member as one of her examiners. So we've reached out to a public member who's kind of external to us, because your examiners have to be independent, and are going to have a public member as one of her assessors, as well as the kind of academic assessors she has to have. So that's all really great. Pam's quite involved. I don't mind to put Pam on the spot now. Pam's also quite involved in Kamal's PhD, so she may want to add, or she may not.
Oh, Pam,
Muted,
I
Pam.
think you're muted. Yeah.
Yes, well, obviously going on from what Carol was saying, she's certainly a very busy girl at the moment because she's also writing a paper for a particular medical journal, and that is very time consuming, and hopefully I'm trying to help her with that. And also she is, as Caroline said, doing this other job in Bristol, which she did extremely well to get. And fingers crossed that she'll get there. So I believe her last thing is the Viva Voce in May. So by then she'll be free again, presumably to take up a full-time job instead of the part-time one she's doing at Bristol.
Yeah, so her Bristol job will turn part-time on the 1st of April, which is why she set herself end of March to finish her thesis. So yeah, she will be doing that. Mike's also prompted me to tell you all that the PPI team, along with John McGavin, who I think has disappeared. I think he was here earlier, but someone turned up at the door, didn't they? And Lindsay Welch, who is one of the researchers that some of you will have come across. Oh, John is here. He's just got a code name. There he is. We've submitted a paper about the coffee mornings and the impact of them to a journal, and we got the reviewer comments back and went through kind of a rewrite, as you have to. And I think it's fair to say our rewrite was much stronger than our first paper. So we're really happy with the reviewers' comments, actually, because our message is much stronger in the new paper. And essentially, we focused the paper on how important relationship building is in patient and public involvement, and basically talked through all the examples of how having these coffee mornings as a way for us as PPI staff to build relationships with you as public members has led to other benefits and other relationships that have spun out as a consequence. So all the examples we've had today are kind of exactly the sorts of things that we're promoting, and that the level of impact that people have been presenting about today, we're not convinced would have happened if we weren't as public and PPI staff, we haven't invested in all those relationships that we've built over the last few years. Bye, Michelle. The other thing to say while I have the microphone is that this is Michael's last coffee morning, because he finishes with us on Tuesday. So if people don't mind, all unmuting and giving Mike a virtual round of applause, because there's not a lot else we can all do on a on a Zoom call. I think that would be nice.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, everyone. This has been great. I actually have 3 more slides to show you, because 3 researchers couldn't make it, but they sent their slides. But just to say that, you know, when we conceived the coffee mornings, Barney, Carmel, Catherine, this was early on in the pandemic. I don't know if everyone knew this, but at the start of the pandemic, Caroline was in her honeymoon in New Zealand, and we were essentially stuck without knowing what to do because we had no idea. But we said, you know, let's throw the rule book out the window and just see if this sticks. And I think 2 years on, it's stuck. So thank you, everyone, for being supportive, to the researchers and to the public members. Let me just share my screen. 3 updates from researchers who were unable to make it. The first one is from Sophia. Let me just, there you go. So Sophia, I have no idea when she spoke. Maybe Catherine can if Catherine remembers, because she's an art researcher.
No, Mike, I cannot remember.
Oh, I think this was earlier this year, like January, like the winter of 2021.
It was
January. Oh, thank you, Barney. So yes, so she did, I think, or she's doing research on inflammation markers in the brain, and AI to actually analyze the data that comes from this. So yes, so this is her update. second update. Oh, I mean, is everyone happy for me to change the slide? Looks like. Okay, cool. So the second update is from Chiara, who is also an ARC Wessex researcher. So her for context, her research is on nursing shift patterns in community and mental health hospitals. I think she spoke in 2020, not this year. So they did the survey, 892 nurses. Majority of nurses work 12-hour shifts, but less than half of them would like to work other shifts. Majority of nurses report not having any choice when it comes to shift patterns. So this is what they're doing. Roster and patient data. Of course, jumping through hoops. Okay, so they're cleaning up the data, processing the data, and analyzing it in the new year. So that's Chiara. And the third one is also from another ARC Wessex researcher, Yuan.
Quite wordy, Mike. You mind reading that one?
It is quite wordy, yes. So submitted a 3-stage 1 NIHR grant applications in year 2020 to 2021 as principal investigator. Unfortunately, it was unsuccessful. And these were the 3 proposals. So a realist study on the role social prescribing plays within integrated care systems for older people with frailty and multimorbidity in primary and community care settings. What works for whom, under what circumstances, how, and why. The second proposal, what's the role of continuity of care in integrated care systems for older people with frailty in primary and community care settings? Who needs it? When, why, how, and what circumstances, and to what extent? A realist review study for RFPB, which is another funding stream. And the Developing Research Leaders Award in Adult Social Care, Integrated Person Care for older people with high care and support needs in the community. And then he listed 2 studies where he is a co-applicant, quite wordy. I think the most important bit here is the last part where he plans for the next grant application as PI. So he plans to submit a stage 1 NIHR RFPB. I think that's Research for Patient Benefit Grant application in March of next year for another review, realist review, focusing on integrated working care across integrated care systems for people with frailty and multimorbidity. So unfortunately, the reality is in research, it's always, not always, but more often than not, it can be quite frustrating and unsuccessful, but it's about that resilience. So we talk about resilience a lot. So our researchers are quite resilient at just reapplying. So that's pretty much it, everyone. With a minute to spare. So yeah.
Anthony just unmuted. I don't know if he wants to say something.
Only that it's been a terrific year in every single way. And I think that we're going to miss the members of the team who are leaving us left, right, and center.
Yeah.
And Catherine and Mike and so on. No,
yep.
They have been so invaluable in building up what this has been with Caroline. And we've got to do a heck of a lot of work in the next year to make sure it continues at this level of support. It's worth every single minute of it.
Yeah, yeah.
And thank you all, and have yourselves a very happy Christmas wherever you will be over the next weeks.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Bill. And I hope to be back for the coffee mornings, but not as a PPI staff member, but as a speaker, hopefully in a few months once I'm settled in my new role. So should be interesting.
I'll be asking Mike on a weekly basis if he knows enough to come back and speak to us.
Right. So yes.
What is it you're doing?
Oh, so I'm starting a new role at the University of Birmingham. So the University of Birmingham houses the NIHR Global Surgery Unit, and it's part of the NIHR infrastructure that does surgery trials in low to middle income countries like Ghana, Nigeria, India, Mexico. And essentially, I'll be coordinating PPI across those 7 sites. So it's quite exciting, but a bit intimidating as well. So
Yeah, very interesting though. Good luck with it.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just getting the technical links between some of these third world countries on PPIs can be most interesting, I think.
Definitely. Yeah.
Well, thank you once again, Mike, for everything.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that we don't get to have a nice, lovely face-to-face goodbye.
Yeah.
One day we'll all get to meet in person. I'm sure there's lots of people here that you've never actually got to meet in person, actually, isn't there?
Oh.
No, same for me too, actually. So you will be hugely missed. You've made a massive contribution,
Yes.
to not just the coffee mornings, but everything else that we do here in the team. So thank you for everything.
Yes. Yeah, thank you.
All right. So yeah, this is Mike signing off, I guess.
Oh.
No, I'll be in touch. Don't worry. You have my NIHR email, so I'll be in touch.
You better had be.
Yes. Yes.
I definitely will be in touch.
Good luck in Birmingham.
Thank you, James. Yeah, thank you.
All right up there.
Are the coffee mornings going ahead next year as well?
Barney, I think, has 2 planned in January. Barney,
yeah, it's actually 3.
Oh,
there you go.
I've peaked early. I've got I've got a talk organised for 1 a week for not the first week of January, but the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th weeks of January. We've got a guest speaker every week. I don't think I'll be able to keep that up, but yeah. Tina, who gave an update, I think is the first one, and then there's someone else who's speaking on kidney infections, and I've forgotten who the other person is, but they're all very interesting studies, and they're all very engaging researchers. So yeah, hope that you will be able to join me.
excellent.
Yes is the answer. We will be doing our best to continue without Mike and Catherine guiding us.
I think I said yes last year. I know I'm from Newcastle. I'm an accidental member of the group, but I always used to call these Southampton the sanity sessions, and it was just nice to meet up and have a chat and hear all this amazing research. And I think even at Newcastle, being able to take part in Southampton research projects, which is how I found out about this group.
So yeah, just to confirm that Catherine's post has been filled now. So there's a person called Rachel who some of you may have had the chance to meet, but if you haven't, you will in January. And Michael's post we interviewed for yesterday, and someone has accepted an offer. Can't tell you more because I haven't told all the candidates the outcome yet. So that's really exciting too. So yeah, there'll be some new people joining as well as the people leaving. So still an exciting time. I hope, and yeah, thank you all for joining, especially the researchers, because I know that uni closes tomorrow, so they're probably all quite busy finishing their to-do lists. So I'm really grateful that you did find the time. I'm really pleased, and if you are in the NHS and you are working over Christmas, thank you very much for that. So yeah. Anyone else got any final things they'd like to say before we all close and go about our...
Parting is such sweet sorrow that I could say goodbye till it were morrow.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to ask, mostly when there have been coffee mornings, I haven't been available. So I haven't cottoned on to any pattern or otherwise. Does the day of the week move?
Yeah, it moves between a Monday, a Wednesday, or a Friday, unfortunately. So there isn't really a pattern. And it's also only when there's a researcher coming. So there's kind of a bulletin that normally tries to come just before the month begins, telling you when those months are. But it does make it hard to schedule, I'm afraid, because if you need to plan in advance, we're not really very good at actually getting them organized that far in advance. So sorry.
That's understandable. That's understandable. But I should hopefully be able to do a bit more of that this coming year. So I shall look forward to that. Thank you.
But just to add, in case you do miss a coffee morning, we actually upload sessions on our YouTube channel. So I've shared the link on the chat. So you should be able to watch sessions.
Thank you. Yeah, because there were a couple I really was interested in and I wasn't aware of that. So yeah, thank you.
Sure.
As a disclaimer, me and Barney have a bad track record for remembering to press the button at the start of meetings. Normally, half an hour before, Mike messages us and says, don't forget to record. So there may be an issue with the January meetings. You're all welcome to remind us to record.
I was going to say, I mentioned these coffee mornings in a meeting at my new job, and they were like, oh, cool, so you used to do one a month. And then I explained there'd been over 120 of them. And the look I got was of astonishment that we'd done 120 coffee mornings. So I'm sort of very proud to have been part of this slightly gentle lunacy for the past 2 years.
Yes, to be honest, I had forgotten about being interviewed about the impact, and will you sort of give an update about if it's been accepted into a journal?
That's when it gets. Are you talking about Carmel's project? Or is it?
I think yes, I think that's what you gave the update about, just seeing that it was going through a bit of a rewrite at the moment, because
yes,
I think it's amazing, you know, how things develop over the year or so.
Yeah, that's the coffee morning paper. That is, we don't know how long it will take to hear back, but we're hoping that will go in. I don't mind sharing what we've written with you now if you would like to read it now, or you can wait till the polished version if you want. I think it makes me really proud. Like Catherine, Michael and Barney are the ones that do all the work, but it makes me really proud to kind of read, because it shows just how kind of far these coffee mornings have taken us from their initial conception all the way through to kind of today. So I really like that paper. I'm really proud of it. And we hope that it will get accepted academically. If it doesn't, we will just put it out there in the world through academic channels.
I'm involved with something else, and I think they just said it was like the best part of a year to get published. And you know, even with the acne things in Southampton, sometimes they're going around various journals to see if they're accepted. So it is a tough job, like you say, grant applications and you know, lucky, not lucky, resilience.
Yeah. So I think Carmel and Catherine started the first draft last January. So it's been a long process to get it into a journal, and we're not there yet, but we'll get there. Or we'll just make it available for our own ways. We think it's important the message gets out, so if it can't get out in the academic world, then we'll get it out another way.
The other thing we shouldn't forget, I think, is that everybody sitting around this table today has got a tremendous amount from each meeting, whether there's been people speaking to them or an opportunity to make greater friends, to talk about their own issues and problems. It's become almost a family of people. And this, I think, has been one of its huge impacts and great successes.
Can I just say that that's one of the points that was made in the paper?
Promised I hadn't read it.
Yeah, yes, I haven't seen it. Yes, at all. But I think the team and what you've done since you started is brilliant. And you know, I always endeavour to be at the meetings if I can, if I'm not doing anything else. And I would like to thank you very much. You know, and some of those that are leaving will be missed, but I think the important thing is that this continues.
Yeah,
We can always have a reunion.
Well, hopefully it can continue in some way. It won't be Mike and Catherine taking it forward, but yeah, I've got hopes that we can at least continue it on a sort of fortnightly or monthly basis.
Yeah, I do hope it continues, Barney, because it is very helpful.
Let's go. Farewell, dear friends.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
Merry Christmas. Bye, everyone.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Happy New Year.
As well.
Yes.
Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas.